channeling the spell. This is going to be a Fire Raga. It doesn't kill somehow, and it kills Naiads to land a kill. Oh my god! Here, apparently not, because she is going for the back line. This is instant casting. Might have a chance. It is it. What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 4, Week 7 of the Champions League, and I am really excited about this as we have 12 powerhouses facing off against each other this week, and I'm excited to see who wins. We've got two teams up at the top, currently sitting at a 6-2 record with Sandroosters, Unicorn, Gunfight 2, Electric, Boogaloo, and Maverick's Symphony of the Nights. I will note Sandrooster has the head-to-head tiebreaker right now over Maverick, so he is in control of his own destiny for that first seed if he is able to continue winning, and he's won 6 weeks in a row with that Mace team, and we'll see if he can keep it going. Maverick is doing very, very well for himself as well, and I note that these two teams, if either one of them wins, would clinch a playoff spot, and not only clinch a playoff spot, but clinch a spot in the Season 5 Champions League of the WDL as the top 6 go to that league for the next season. MacRain of Scarlet Moon Empire currently sitting at 5-3, doing very, very well for himself, and JesusLBL of the Strawhats is currently sitting in 4th as he has played one less game than everybody else other than Machen. As those two teams will face off against each other at the start of this video, it is a makeup battle from a couple of weeks ago as JesusLBL was on vacation. He notified me ahead of time that they wouldn't be able to get the battle completed, but that will be done this week, and everybody will have the same amount of battles at the end of this video. It's interesting because if Jesus wins, he will be sitting at 5-3 alongside MacRain in very good position to try and make the playoffs. If he loses, we would have a 6-way tie at 4-4, which is just absolutely nuts. And speaking of a 4-4 tie, we've got JB79 of the Paranoid Androids, ReadyPlayerWill of Fight Club, Turambar of the Fire Ferrets, and Surftaco of Britney's Spears. At the moment, JB79 and ReadyPlayerWill would be the two teams who would make the playoffs if it ended right now, but with 3 battles to go for every single team, these tiebreakers might not be quite as important, as there's probably not going to be 4 or even 6 teams tied at this record at the end of the season, so we'll have to see how that changes over these last few fights. MaechenX, how Shoopuf growing Stronk, is in a decent position at 3-4. If he can pick up some wins this week, it would be obviously a much better position. We've got a few teams down at the bottom who are not out of it yet though. Coppola, coach of Sword and Sorcery Mercenaries at 3-5, pretty much needs to win out to have a chance. He needs to at bare minimum win 2 of 3 to have a chance at making the playoffs. Ram9, coach of the Rock Boys, currently sitting at 2-6. He won last week. Can he pick up some steam? Can he try and pick up some wins and make it? One thing I will note, in the Wotive Blind Enthusiast League, shout out to Numero 80 who created that league, Ram9 I think started off like 1-4 in that league and then ripped off a ton of straight wins and made it to like the semifinals. So it is not unheard of for this guy to do it. Can he do it in this league though? It's going to be tough. We'll have to find out. And another team that pretty much needs to win out to have a chance, Numero 80 of the Blind Enthusiast, currently sitting at 2-6. So this league is really, really competitive. The fact that the top team has 2 losses and the bottom team has 2 wins just shows how competitive all of these players are. And I'm excited to see what happens in these final few weeks. So before we head into the battles, guys, just wanted to always give a shout out to all of the YouTube members, these amazing 21 people on the screen. Support the channel in just, it's so appreciated, honestly. Thank you guys so much for doing all this, guys. Let's head into the fights. First battle of the day for Champions League is going to be Machen's House Shoopuf growing Stronk versus the Strawhats coached by JesusLBL. And this map should look familiar as this is a makeup match. This match never actually got completed a couple of weeks ago back on the Rundal Castle Gate. And MaechenX is looking to try and take down Jesus to try and keep pace in the record books. JesusLBL looking to try and separate himself from the other 4-4 teams. Treasures Hunter's Fortune coming out, Agility and Luck online, Curative Field from the Barretts. So you can see some very specific things that we're going for here. Status nullifications on the side from Machen, Evasion on the side of Jesus, as it looks like Pissarro is on that side here. He's going to kick things off. He has the elemental advantage here, but Fryevi is a beast of a tank. Grease Lightning coming through, 3,000 damage is not as much as I think Jesus would like to have seen. About 1,700 damage total coming out from the Roy Mustang onto the Fryevi. Even with the elemental advantage, we've seen she is just a godly magic tank. And this is a bit of a rough setup here for Jesus. It looks like trying to bank on the elemental advantage against Freyevia, but I don't know that it's going to be enough if she is a massive magic tank here. Steelskin Plus coming out from the Barret. Cura to top it off for the Miranda is going to make this Freyevia insanely bulky. Does catch a magic reflex on the Silma, but she does not get a whole lot of damage. The counter cure lands for Roy too, so the counters are on the side of JesusLBL, but the trick thrust comes out and there's no AP on this Pizarro. He might be evasive, but he is not going to be able to do any damage. His jamming thrust coming out for 1700. The best bet for Jesus is that Freyevia is going to lose all her hate as they just hit her so many times. Catastrophe coming out though. This is a chance to confuse, I believe. 3100 and 4300 on the second attack. It does confuse the Silma. She doesn't know where the hell she is right now. It's Firaga. My goodness. Freyevia might be tanking up that damage, but Barret certainly is not. The guaranteed hit comes out from Miranda as it looks like Pizarro is going to drop. All-consuming flame coming out from the Roy, though, does actually a ton to Freyevia that time. I don't know what just changed, but my goodness, he just did so much damage to her. She is actually very low. There's actually a chance for Jesus here, but it looks like the confused Silma does not go for the Freyevia. That confusion looking massive as she probably could have gotten a jamming thrust onto the Miranda here, but Miranda's going to go to next. I think she probably one-shots this Roy. Roy is a glass cannon. 11,999 damage. He is going to drop, and it looked for a moment that Jesus might have a chance here, but this is going to be a victory for MaechenX and House Shoopuf. Man, oh man, guys, this means we have a 6-way tie at 4-4 heading into this week. In terms of standings, it couldn't get better than this, guys, and with 6 more battles to go, this is going to be exciting. Next fight is Sandrooster, coach of Unicorn Gunfight 2, Electric Boogaloo versus House Shoopuf growing strong, coached by Machen. Machen picking up a fight earlier in the video against JesusLBL. Can he manage to keep this streak alive? It looks like Victoria's going to buff, going to walk forward. Arrow Shield Melody coming out from the McLeod here. And Summer Glassy with the Unfailing Maiden. Courage and a bunch of nice effects, including the HP Restore, which gets low. We have a couple of fantastic tanks in this fight with Freyevia and Summer Glassy. Cecil is here. He's going to go for the Keen Blade, so get that CT up on the entire party. So I believe that is matching on both sides here, as Astrius is going to go next. Does he go for his Courage? He's going to go Cross Destruction. I don't think he ever got his Courage up. Could be wrong. That barrier going to soak up the damage, and with no Courage, Astrius is not as good of a unit as he normally would be. The Frostbite also landing onto Freyevia could be huge. It's all-out assault coming out from the cloud. Just going to sit back and buff. What can Freyevia get done here? Does she manage to heal? Does she go for damage? We'll have to see here as she goes for the Ice Prison. This is the limit break on the backline. So she ignores. She's going to the Summer Glassy and the McLeod. She ignores the Victoria here. She does heal herself up nicely and also gain some haste. Reckoning of Light from Cecil is actually a ton of damage, also increasing his healing power as well. They might be able to clean up this Victoria, but Summer Glassy is getting in the middle of things. She says, not so fast. You need to kill me first before killing that DPS. But Astrius, can he find it on the Victoria still? 50 AP, should be able to find an AoE. He's going to go Cross Destruction again. Victoria's going to go down, and that is a ton of healing for the Astrius. MaechenX might have just turned this fight in his favor here, as Freyevia is going to go next with tons of AP remaining. Silence Blade, 2490. The silence really wouldn't matter, but she's just going to heal herself up nicely. Neuralizing Lance comes out from the McLeod, though, and my god, McLeod just goes absolutely apeshit, kills the Astrius, and Sandrooster might actually have a chance. This looked like it was very good for Machen. Paralyzing Edge, but the Summer Glassy is going to heal back up with 33 AP. Wolven Claws coming out, kills the Freyevia, and MaechenX, it looked like it was really good for him, but this McLeod with the rapid fire taking another kill. The 50 cost unit was the one that popped off, and Sandrooster in Unicorn Gunfight 2 says, no Mace comp, no problem, and picks up another win. Next fight is between Fight Club and the Rock Boys. ReadyPlayerWill currently sitting at 4-4. Ram9 currently sitting at 2-6. Looking to try and get back into the playoff hunt. He needs to win out to have a chance. Leave this to me. Comes out from the Reagan. Gets the elemental resistances up on the team. And he is paired alongside the Halloween Ryryu and the Murmur. Deceptive Mist coming out. This is the Resoul TMR. I finally remembered her frickin' name, as Renault is going to start channeling the haste. Obsidian Order coming out from the Helena, so the Griffer TMR, very nice tech by ReadyPlayerWill as well, as it looks like this will give ice resistance to the party, which will be useful against the Reagan, unless, obviously, he goes for one of his fire attacks. Fast cast coming out from the Murmur. Renault is going to start channeling haste as well, so the entire party for Will should be hasted up very quickly. Thunder Surge coming out from Summer Helena, so he is running the main job, sub job, to try and get lightning resistance penetration. Something that's very rare in this game is elemental resistance penetration, but against a couple of earth units, a smart bring by ReadyPlayerWill by turning this on. Immortal Spirit for the Halloween Rairu gives him courage, gets him closer to the fight. And Helena going to go with the Bar. Aurora says, hey, you may have earth units, I have a lightning unit, but let's turn that on the head. With the lightning elemental penetration and the earth resistance, this is not so much of an elemental advantage as it once would be. Mermaid Dance comes out, though. This is going to drop the AoE resist. It dispels Shell. It's very, very good. 10k damage onto the earth unit. This is what I'm talking about. That lightning resistance penetration paying dividends here as the fast cast comes through from the Murmur. Reagan's going to catch a haste, and he's going to go for the limit break. Sonic Octostrike Blade. This is an ice attack, so that the Griffer TMR, excuse me, paying dividends. Summer Helena soaking this up very well, and ReadyPlayerWill is in fantastic position as Renault is trying to kill this Halloween Rairu, but it looks like the jamming thrust comes through. Murmur is going to cancel that spell. That jamming thrust could not have been timed any better for the side of Ram 9. That is huge. That would have very likely killed Halloween Rairu, and now Renault basically just doesn't get her turn at all. Creeping Terror comes through, lands the poison onto Summer Helena, and all of a sudden, this fight is not as one-sided for ReadyPlayerWill as it once was. Summer Helena is going to die to poison on this turn. Even with Courage, it really doesn't matter. The Midsummer Magic comes through. I don't think he ever used Courage, probably because of the poison chance. Removes the Halloween Rairu from the fight, but she's going to die to that poison. She did crucially remove Courage from both the Rairu and the Reagan, though, which is important. Helena, can you get in range to heal this Renoa? It doesn't look like it unless that Curaga maybe reaches. Renoa going to go next. She's starting to channel a spell. I expect a Twin Strike. No, it's Time Mage sub. I forgot about that. That is not White Mage, so she does not have the heals online. The only heals are going to come from Renoa, which is a bit of a problem because she might be stuck in healer mode. She might not be able to deal damage. Flare going to come through for 5,500. Can Reagan seal this kill here? With 51 AP, he decides to pummel that Helena in the face. My goodness. That is not appropriate as Renoa is going to go next. She needs to heal herself up. That is what she is going to go for. Double recover. If she stands still, maybe she can lap. She is going to. She goes again. She needs to kill this Reagan to have a chance. What is the casting time? It is not fast enough. If we see another jamming thrust, this is over. Defense Destroyer instead, but it deals so much damage. Reagan should be able to clean this up. Ram 9 is going to slash that Renoa in the back, and my goodness, you guys, Ram 9 picks up another win. Over the start of the season, he had it rough. Like I said, he started out 1-5, 1-6. I don't know. He's 3-6 at the moment, and he is really starting to turn this on its head. I think he started out 1-6. I'm almost certain because he's won the last 2 weeks, and props to him. He is keeping himself in the playoff picture. His playoff chances are very much alive if he wins the last 2 weeks. I expect nothing less from him just because he is an absolute beast of a player. But this was a hell of a fight on both sides. Some really smart techs from both sides. I shouted out the Griffer TMR by ReadyPlayerWill was very well played. I liked the Lightning Elemental Resistance skill being turned on because he expected some Earth there. Like I said, you can turn on or off skills in the preview battle. So noticing the attack and magic stat, I think he probably guessed that it was double Earth magic. So that was a very smart move by Ram 9, or by ReadyPlayerWill, excuse me. And on the side of Ram 9, I loved the entire team. The jamming thrust worked so perfectly. I mean, I know you can't like script that correctly, but that jamming thrust interrupting Renoa, I have to imagine that was the key to the fight. So that Murmur, honestly, was MVP of the match, if you ask me. Hell of a fight, and a huge congrats to the Rock Boys. Next up, we've got Britney Spears versus Symphony of the Nights. Maverick currently sitting at a 6-2 record. Surftaco currently sitting at 4-4. And with ReadyPlayerWill and Machen already losing this week, a win this week would be massive for his playoff chances. He gets a huge 10,000 HP physical barrier online for his Jaden the Celebrated, who is sitting alongside 2 of his water waifus in Farm and the Summer Elsorel. Looks like Halloween Lucio alongside Mont and Grifford this time, so not the full Axe comp. We're seeing Mont in the place of the Cyrell as the Wind Veritas TMR being utilized by the Grifford. Smart move here by Maverick, where he is using the Wind Veritas TMR, but he has Grifford way off in the corner so that he can't be baited out, so that he will get the TMR off and his physical barrier. Love this move by Maverick here, as the Hien is used by the Farm, barely dealing any damage to the Mont, honestly. He is tanking up very, very well. And I think, if I saw that correctly, I think that was the Joom TMR. That is an interesting TMR usage. I'm not sure the thought process, but very cool to see by Maverick here. As Summer Elsorel going to go with the Dreamy Typhoon. This is going to be the limit break onto the tank. How well does he soak this up? This could be massive. The fact that this is only hitting the tank is huge for Maverick. 3,400 damage does mitigate the AP though. And by mitigate, I mean it just murders the AP. And this could be actually pretty big, because this means that Maverick probably won't get Mont's limit break off. I take it back, 30 AP remaining still. He's still going to go for it. He had so much AP left over. I am stunned, actually, as Destiny's Cross going to come through. Does no damage to the Farm, who dodges it. 261 to the Summer Elsie. It does give himself a nice heal back and some CT up, though, as the limit break from Farm. I don't know how many times I've seen this. This is a really damn cool animation. The Peacock Strut coming out. 874 damage, though, is not very much, and Halloween Lucio is ready to start this fight, but the King of the Dead comes through, and I saw Farm move. She is going to dodge this damage. He says, hey, you've got an evasive team. I can do that shit, too, as 2,500 damage, removing the Protect. Does put in some work for Maverick against the Summer Elsie, who otherwise is very, very bulky to physical. And the Celebrated Jaden comes out with Dance of the Stag King. So physical HP barriers on both sides. The problem is Jaden is magic damage, not physical. Does the damage land? Yes, it does. 5,500 onto the Halloween Lucio. So the accuracy is there for the Jaden. 5,500 is a good start. Can Summer Elsie take out Halloween Lucio before any of this really kicks off? Hammer of the War Master coming out from the Grifford. This is an AoE resist debuff. Not a ton of damage. Actually, a decent amount to the Summer Elsie, more than I would have expected. One of the attacks dodged by the Farm, but the Bursting Light is actually onto the Mont. The tank over here doing very, very nicely, basically avoiding his entire team. This movement is working out so well for Maverick as Sleeper Sweep comes through. One-shots, basically, the two water units, and now it is Celebrated Jaden versus 3. Because of that movement by Mont, I think that is the reason that Surftaco is not winning this at the moment, as Jaden does take out the Halloween Lucille. This fight is not over yet, as Grifford is going to have a very tough time getting through this Jaden. He has his 10,000 HP shield. There is no barrier break by either one of these units here. Taunting Blade going to hit, and he still has his full HP bar. Grifford with 26 AP, Mortal Draw coming through. The barrier is still not broken, which means if he cannot kill it with his standard attack, he's not going to get any AP back. The problem is that Jaden doesn't have any damn AP either. He has to standard attack here. Grifford is going to go with the standard attack, still can't break it. And that is huge, you guys. Because you're not dealing damage, you don't get AP. Same thing with Mont here. This is not over. Maverick is on a good 2v1 advantage right now, but Lifebane Lance, it's brutal for Surftaco that Jaden just goes for the Mont and doesn't go for both, unfortunately, here, as the Riposte Lance comes through. Does a little bit of damage to the Grifford, but unless he can get AP back, as he does get some from the Mont, he needs to kill Grifford to win on turns. I don't think he's going to get enough actions. The Riposte Lance comes through, but that doesn't give him AP. It just gives damage. They still can't get through this physical HP barrier, and this is just a wet noodle fight at the moment. Lifebane Lance, though, comes through. This means that Mont finally dropped hate. He no longer has hate. Mont attacks, and they finally get through the HP barrier. That is huge for Maverick, as Grifford is going to get some AP back. They both got a lot. Riposte Lance comes through again, though. Surftaco might just be able to pull this off with the Jaden. Only a 6 AP. He needs another action to try and turn this fight, but Killer Drain Blade is going to heal up Mont, which is going to turn things in the favor of Maverick. Mortal Draw coming in for 2,300 is another heal. Jaden needs to kill Grifford on this turn and deal enough damage to Mont, but he doesn't have the AP. Black Diamond coming through. Dark Shiva is not enough to kill Grifford. If that would have, he might have won the fight on turns. But man, oh man, Surftaco with a valiant effort there. Honestly, if not for the immaculate position with Mont Leonis basically being way off to the side, away from his teammates, I think Surftaco wins that fight. The fact that Summer Elsie had to go for Mont and wasn't able to hit Halloween Lucio a turn sooner, that was the difference in the fight, because Halloween Lucio was able to basically just double kill both water units. So GG's to both players. Honestly, very, very well played by both sides. Congratulations to Maverick, who I think clinches a playoff spot now with his 7th win. And Surftaco joins the ranks of the 4-4 teams this week who have lost this week. So many 4-4 teams. Who is going to make it? Will any of them pick up a win this week? We're going to have to find out, as we do have a couple fights left, guys. But that was a juicy one. Let's check out the next fight. Next up, we've got 2 long-time Friday night fight beasts. MacRain versus Coppola. Scarlet Moon Empire versus Sword and Sorcery Mercenaries. MacRain looking to inch closer to clinching a playoff spot and a spot in the Season 5 Champions League. Coppola looking to shut that down. With 3 different 4-4 teams already losing this week, Coppola with a win could jump right into the thick of it again as Leonis Barrier comes out for the Elder Leonis on the side of MacRain, a unit we've seen many, many times from him, alongside the Shells and the Winter Luartha. On the side of Coppola, though, a couple of old beasts. We've got double Black Mage units with Skahal, with Gargus, alongside Kadia to support in the back. And one thing I will say, the Gargus AoE resist drop, as well as the Skahal limit break AoE resist drop, could be pretty big, as Shells obviously does give her team quite a bit of AoE resistance. And I think that's probably what Coppola's thinking here going into this fight. Guard Haste going to land onto the Skahal. Dual Veil Darken Earth could be pretty useful, especially against the Winter Luartha. As the Zombie TMR is here for Skahal. I don't think there's any re-raise on their side, or re-raise removal. So this Skahal, excuse me, is ready to carry King Bradley TMR online for the Winter Luartha, who's rocking 11k HP. Very, very healthy. Rite of Safe Passage coming in. And this, I think, might be the best 50 cost support versus the best high cost support in the WDL. Kadia and the Shells. I think they were both first round picks. Both very worthwhile. Windlash only doing 1700 though is just incredible. I honestly don't know how somebody tanks up that damage from Gargus that well. That is absolutely crazy. Calamity Guard landing though, giving a 1-hit barrier. Could be useful. Skahal, does he go for the limit break or does he go for Thundergo Disposer? Maybe even a flare. We'll have to see here. As it looks like Winter Luartha starting to fight off. Javelin Fall coming out. Damage mitigated very well with that 1-hit barrier by Kadia, as well as the Protect. And the Flare coming in. How much damage does it do to the Elda? 2,800. My goodness, man. This guy is just an unstoppable force. He is so damn tanky. The regen making it even worse from the Shells. Can Coppola get through this wall? This absolute mountain of a man as Gargus is going to go next. Gonna go for the Windlash, going to hit all 3. Says, hey, I don't need to kill the Elder if I can kill the backline as well. A good chunk of damage onto those back 2 units. Kadia, what is she gonna go for next? Is she supporting or is she going into offensive mode? I'm not sure. Void Piercer is going to take out the Gargus though. And that is rough to see if you are Coppola here, as Winter Luartha going to try and snipe out this Kadia. If she can claim this kill, this fight is probably over. Javelin Fall is going to claim the kill on Kadia. It's going to proc the Courage on Skahal. And Skahal needs to kill Shells right now to have an opportunity, but she has Courage. I don't think it's going to matter. As he is going to go next, he would need to take a turn and then lap again, as Thundergo Disposer is going to come out. Almost kills the Elda, almost procs the Courage. The Courage is there for Shells, though, who is now going to try and heal up the team. And unless, I think the only win condition for Coppola is debilitating counters right now. I am going to speak it into existence here, but that is a huge counter chance. If he can get some of those, he has a chance. 39 AP for the Winter Luartha. There's one of them. I'm telling you, 4,000 damage. Paralyzing Edge will come through, so he will come back with the re-raise. But I don't think a debilitating counter is enough to kill the Elda, and that is what he's going to need to have a chance in this fight. Does he get it, and is it enough to kill? He gets it, but it's only 2,500 damage. The standard attack will take out the Skahal, and honestly, a very valiant effort by Coppola. This team from MacRain is nasty. I have tested against it before, and you guys do not want to play against it. It is really damn strong. Coppola, I think, brought an excellent strategy to try and get through it, but it just wasn't enough. Well played by both sides here, and a huge congrats to another win for MacRain. Couple of fights left, and we've got the Blind Enthusiast versus the Paranoid Androids, and it looks like 9S, Mia, and Soul being used on the side of the Paranoid Androids. Numero 80 going with the team that has been the strongest for him thus far, I think, with the Resnick, Vadim and Glaciella Flagbearer here, as it looks like the Protect is online. This is really, really useful as a combination with the Soul, as he is able to strip the Protect removal on the other side. It looks like Heart of Flutter being used on the Mia, so it looks like JB79 trying to draw some aggro with Mia, maybe get her alongside to either drop Unit Attack Resist or get a Charm on the enemy team. We'll have to see here as Vadim's going to buff. He's going to walk forward as well. Resnick going to start channeling something here. Sage's Wisdom coming out. And I apologize for that popping up on the screen real quick. But it looks like shield deployment again from the 9S, so that is just going to be refreshed. He's got his Protect. And he's ready to go. Teachings of the Strongbolt coming out from the Resnick, so the nice number of buffs. Doesn't get benefit from all of them, as Glaciella is not a lightning unit, but she does have the Haste TMR, which is going to allow her to try and lap later on in the fight. Mia going to start this off with the Slowpoke. 500 damage, CT down is huge, as well as a unit attack resist drop. Doesn't do much damage, as the unit attack resistance up comes out from the Resnick. The Mug from Vadim, and we've got some Vadim versus Mia action. The two 30-cost Thief units, the two units that really never get any chance to shine. These other 4 units, hey, just get out of the way and let these two fight. That's what I want to see. As the neural hacking comes through onto the Vadim, it misses though, as Vadim says, I am the best 30-cost Thief unit. Thank you very much. Dispelling Spear Flight tanked up pretty nicely by that Mia on JB79's side though, as Resnick's going to go next. Height 3 Holy Knight's Purge is not enough to kill. Does land the Immobilize onto 9S, but here comes Soul. He is inevitable. Chaotic Darkness is going to come in. How much damage is this going to do to the enemies? I expect a lot. 8,500 damage is enough to kill the Resnick. She does come back with the re-raise, but will she get an opportunity to heal? She does have the CT up from the Wizard Staff. It is not enough, it looks like, as Glaciella is going to go next. Armor Piercer will take out the Mia, but 9S is going to be able to kill this Resnick, I think, with 65 AP. Cyclonic Spear Shot gets dodged by the Vadim, but the healer is down, and the healer, I think, was the key to trying to win this fight. Mug is coming out from the Vadim, but unless he can just put on a dance show where he evades everything, I think this is over. Barrier Break Lance is huge to get rid of that HP barrier that Soul has online, but the poison is ticking, ticking, ticking. Pyre of Chaos and Destruction comes out. It's enough to kill the Glaciella, and Vadim, unless he got some major upgrades that I'm not aware of, is not going to be able to pull off this win. Train Rush comes out from the 9S. Vadim is styling. I'm going to give him some credit for that as he dodges this 9S. Mug comes out, even steals a little bit of AP away from this Soul, but Glint of Nothingness means there is nothing for Vadim left to do. And that is going to be a victory for the Paranoid Androids and JB79. A huge win, honestly, as a number of teams, like I said, have lost that were 4-4. So JB79 winning puts himself a full game ahead against a number of them who he already has a good tiebreaker ratio against. So honestly, this win is huge for JB79's playoff chances. Unfortunately for Numero 80, I think this removes him from playoff contention. He's been an excellent player all season, though, and I know he's going to look to try and play spoiler over the last couple weeks, and I wish him very much good luck in those last couple fights. Heading into the final fight of Week 7, we've got the Champions League, Strawhats versus Fire Ferrets. It is a water and ice team coming up from Turambar, a team that I don't think we've seen this season, with the Aerith. Keenblade coming out from the Glaciella, and Uni, Mish, and Black Rose Helen on the other side. Protective Familiar coming out from Aerith. I believe this is 35% 3-hit magic barrier on the other team, or on the entire team, excuse me, which could be pretty valuable versus this Black Rose Helena here. The Zombie TMR coming out from the Mish. And I have to imagine that Aerith is very specifically being brought for this unit on the other side, Black Rose Helena. That shield could be pretty massive. The Arrowfall comes out from Uni, but it's after the Keenblade goes off, so it really doesn't do a ton unless they're trying to do Time Mage stuff. And Aerith does, importantly, if you guys notice, that last buff, get her hate down, which is massive for this support, considering Turambar's not running a tank. Both of the DPS are going to buff and run forward. Hex of Undoing is here for Black Rose Helena. And what is Aerith going to go for on turn 3? She is out of buff. She is putting herself in AoE harm's way. Is that going to matter? Uni is going to go in with 25 AP. Punishing Slow Arrow is a very good start onto this Glaciella. Mish should be able to follow up here. Could find an AoE. Is it a Firaga? It's a Flare. How much damage is it going to do to Glaciella? Should be a decent amount. It's going to break that magic barrier. 4,500 is a good start, but looking at the turn rotation, it's in favor of Turambar. Trinity Break with the Knight sub for Turambar, just taking out the Uni. 3v2 advantage. Armor Piercer is enough to one-shot the Mish. And Turambar in this Get Swifty Civil War is at an advantage at the moment, but Miech, crucially with the re-raise, does come back to life. Limit Break going to come out from the Aerith. Healing Wind is going to give a ton of HP, also giving some Spirit, crucially, against these two magic damage dealers. No, I take it back. That's the one that gives defense. The other one is the one that gives Spirit, so that really won't matter much. It's just the healing. Rose Blast comes out, tanked decently well. 3,000 or 4,000 onto both. Winter Rabby's gonna go for the Limit Break. This should kill the Miech. If this lands Frostbite, Helena could eventually run out of AP before this fight is over. The Frostbite does land. Miech is going to drop. And this is a massive advantage for Turambar. This is a very specific comp that he brought for this. But the counter recovery from Helena says this ain't over yet. Aerith is going to go next. Protective Familiar again, so no more heal, but refreshes the Magic Barrier, which is very useful against this unit. Magic Barriers are one of the main ways to mitigate her damage. But here comes the Limit Break. If anything was going to turn this fight, this is it. Rose Fulmination going to drop that magic attack resistance. That Magic Barrier coming in huge. I almost guarantee that Winter Rabbies dies without it, and Glaciella might as well. 3,000 HP, still there. Stunning Thrust, 3,800. If Helena catches another counter cure, she could still win this. Great Slash coming in for 3,700 damage. Winter Rabbies is running out of AP. Aerith, what is the cast time for her heal? It's not instant. Helena coming in. If she can kill these two units, this could still be Jesus' fight. What is the cast time? Rose Blast comes through first. It is going to drop both damage dealers. The Holy Prayer lands onto Aerith, and now it is her versus Helena. Does she have the damage? Does she have a way to turn this fight? She does not have full life in her kit, but the Frostbite is huge as Helena has no more AP. Aerith is looking to try and turn this fight. Ray of the Ancients gets reflected back onto herself. She is going to mitigate her own AP. She's going to nerf her own AP by 20. She goes for another attack. Helena is going to try and accrue AP. She needs to live this hit and somehow one-shot. Ray of the Ancients is going to come through for 752, but it depletes the AP, which is huge. That means Helena does not have enough to cast a spell. I think this Aerith is going to win on turns. This Helena literally can only standard attack. Ray of the Ancients being turned on is making sure that she can't get any AP back. There are 4 actions left. Aerith is going to take another turn, and Helena can't get her AP. Unless Siren kills here. 1,500 damage, lands the paralysis. She needed that a few turns sooner, as the paralysis will go off, but Aerith is going to win this on HP. And Turambar and the Fire Ferrets are victorious in that fight. That fight was ridiculous, you guys. That was one of my favorites this year, honestly. That was fantastic. Well played to both of these players. Some Get Swifty on Get Swifty action, but a huge congrats to Turambar for picking up that victory. All right, guys, with 7 weeks of fights over and done with for the Champions League and 2 weeks remaining, we officially know 2 members who will be in the Season 4 Champions League playoffs and will also claim a spot in the Season 5 Champions League. A huge congratulations to these 2 players, Sandrooster and Maverick. Coaches of Unicorn Gunfight 2, Electric Boogaloo, and Symphony of the Knights, both doing very well for themselves all season. 7 wins, 2 losses. I know just getting a spot, though, is not enough for either one of these people, as they're very competitive. They want a first round bye. They want to win the whole thing, and I think either one of these players has a very good chance to do so. And speaking of players with a good chance to do so, we've got another one here with MacRain, coach of Scarlet Moon Empire. Currently sitting at 6-3, he has not clinched a playoff berth. It is possible for him to make the playoffs without winning another game, but another win over the next 2 weeks clinches him a spot no matter what, so that he avoids any sort of weird tiebreaker scenario where he could potentially lose out. JB79 of the Paranoid Androids and Turambar of the Fire Ferrets, both with huge wins this week, put themselves in a very good position and in control of their own destiny to try and make the playoffs, both sitting at 5-4. JB does have that head-to-head tiebreaker, so right now he would get the edge over Turambar. I will note that the 4 and 5 seeds actually play each other in the playoffs, so this wouldn't matter too much, but that is something to note here. After this gets really, really interesting, and this is a perfect example for me to explain the tiebreaker scenarios for who makes playoffs in these leagues. Right now, we have MaechenX, ReadyPlayerWill, JesusLBL, and Surftaco. They all currently have 4 wins and 5 losses right now. The number 1 tiebreaker that we go to determine playoff appearance is head-to-head. When this is a 2-way tiebreaker, it's very easy. If it was ReadyPlayerWill versus Jesus, or let's say MaechenX versus ReadyPlayerWill, I know that MaechenX beat ReadyPlayerWill head-to-head. He would win that tiebreaker, no questions asked. If it was a 3-way tie between teams who all went 1-1 against each other, we actually move to our second tiebreaker, which is a basically deathmatch, best of one round robin scenario on the Arena 3 map. So we actually have extra battles to determine that tiebreaker. In a three-way tie where somebody was 2-0 against the other teams with that same record, they would obviously be first, and the team who went 1-1 against the other two teams would be middle, and 0-2 would be last. In a four-way tie, it gets kind of interesting, or four or more rather. And this is essentially how it works. The first tiebreaker is the head-to-head record amongst teams who have the same record as you. So with these four teams, we've got MaechenX, ReadyPlayerWill, JesusLBL, and Surftaco. This is the tiebreaker column. MaechenX is currently 2-1 against ReadyPlayerWill, Jesus, and Surftaco overall. ReadyPlayerWill is 2-1 against these three teams. Jesus is 1-2 against these three teams, and Surftaco is 1-2 against these three teams. In this scenario, what would happen is we immediately sort them by these groupings. So MaechenX and ReadyPlayerWill are essentially a tier of their own, and JesusLBL and Surftaco are a tier of their own. If it is to make the playoffs, so in this exact situation, MaechenX and ReadyPlayerWill, only one of them would make it if the season ended right now. We don't do the head-to-head tiebreaker in a second level. What I'm trying to say is that even though both of these are 2-1 in this four-way head-to-head tiebreaker, MaechenX beating ReadyPlayerWill head-to-head does not matter because it is trying to determine who makes the playoffs. We automatically would eliminate Jesus and Surftaco, and these two would play a best of one on Arena 3 against each other, winner take all. The winner would make the playoffs. If this exact tiebreaker scenario happened in a different seeding, however, let's say that Machen through Surftaco were the 5 through 8 seed, we would still separate them by groups. So MaechenX and ReadyPlayerWill would be the top two of those four, but since they would be the 5 and 6 seed instead of the 6 and 7, so it's not determining like who makes the playoffs, we then avoid doing the extra battle. It's kind of just extra time that's needed, so we're just going to avoid that. And in that situation, MaechenX, because he beat ReadyPlayerWill head-to-head, would be the 5 seed, and Will would be the 6 seed. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. You don't have to understand all of it. I've got it all, ready to go, and I understand all of it, so no worries there. But I just wanted to try and break that down and explain it to people a little bit in terms of if you were confused about the head-to-head tiebreaker scenario. However, let's not forget about a couple of teams down here. Coppola, coach of Sword and Sorcery Mercenaries, and Ram9 of the Rock Boys. Ram9 seemed dead in the water. He was sitting at a 1-6 record, has won 2 straight wins now, and I don't know, man. I could see it happening. Ram9 is an absolute beast. He won the whole thing in Season 2. He did very, very well in Season 3. Like I said, he went on a huge run in WDL. I could see him making a run. And Coppola is one of the best players that I've ever seen in this entire game. So if either one of these teams were to end up going 5 and 6 and winning some sort of tiebreaker scenario to get themselves in that 6th seed, it would not shock me. Unfortunately for numero 80 and the Blind Enthusiast with a 2-7 record, he's an absolute beast, an awesome person, but he will not be making the playoffs, which means he will not be in the Champions League for Season 5. That being said, I know how good of a player he is, and he is going to want to play spoiler. He is going to want to try and take somebody down in these last 2 fights, and do not sleep on him because that is when he will take you down. So it's been awesome to see how things are going. There's 2 battles remaining for all of these players. Honestly, it's going to be heartbreaking to see some of these players fall out of the Champions League for Season 5. But looking at some of the other leagues and how they've been doing with some of the amazing players who've been crushing in those other leagues, I think we are going to have some real studs that take over some of these spots in that next season. And I think we're still going to have a hell of a Champions League next season, even without some of these names in there. So I'm really curious to see who makes it. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I've rambled long enough though, guys. And until next time, have a wonderful day.